Welcome. We are live and I'm having technical difficulties. What's going on, guys? Let me know who's watching so I know who I'm chatting with. Very casual one tonight. We'll talk about, we're just going to talk about people's collections. And if you guys want to sort of if anybody wants to jump on and show off their collection, by all means, just message me and I will. I'll send you the invite that you need to jump on here. Super easy. If you're watching this on, well, if you're watching this, you've probably got a device that's capable of joining me. But let me try one more time. Uh, to show this. There we go. Finally. Okay, there was a weird box that I needed to tick, apparently. I've never had to tick that box before. Oh well. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are having a good weekend. Enjoying your Saturday evening. Ahoy to you too, Austin. How's it going, buddy? Who else is on here? We got a couple of other people watching. Just say hello if you don't mind, because then, like I said, I know who I'm talking to. And I'm just not just talking to avoid, or maybe it's just you, Austin, watching on multiple devices. I don't know. Anyway, I would start off with news, but there's not really any news in terms of Four Horsemen. There's not really any. There's not really any mythic news. There's not really any cosmic news. It's been a pretty quiet week for Legions. But Charlie says, "Hey guys, on and off doing Instagram shenanigans." Fair enough, Charlie. That's a lot. I mean, a lot of you guys are deep into that. As you guys may or may not know, I finally started an Instagram account just for toys, so that I have sort of a separate one from posting pictures of my kids. But it's fun. I've been sort of searching out a lot of you guys for starters, and then other mythic photographers and customizers and stuff like that. So that's been kind of cool. Austin said things are slow on the Legion's front right now. Yeah, and it's weird, right? Like it felt like there was like a crazy frenetic amount of stuff going on between the releases of some waves and the pre-orders, and then we had all-star voting, and then we had wave 2 of Cosmic, and then to have the all-stars not be announced until end of July seems odd, because it does seem like we have a weird a weird sort of gap where there's not really anything going on. Now they could, I said this last week too, like they could surprise us. There could be a drop, or there could be a sale, or there could be whatever. Who knows? Maybe they got something planned that we just don't know about. Hey Max, how's it going, buddy? Max says close-ups of them shelves. Yo, if I could, I would. I can give you sort of a rundown of what is on those shelves. And I'm happy to post pics. There's not a ton of Legion stuff on there. There's a little bit of everything on there, but I've got Marvel Legends for 2 shelves there. I got Marvel Legends for 2 shelves there. I got Cobras there. I got G.I. Joe, most of G.I. Joe there. I was actually taking pictures of the G.I. Joe, so that's why that shelf looks empty. Top shelf up there is Star Wars Black Series, SH Figuarts, Dragon Ball figures, 2 shelves there of Mythic Legions, and then down on the bottom I've got sort of display slash play set for G.I. Joe, Mythic Legions, and then G.I. Joe over there as well. It doesn't change up very often. I should change it up. Maybe I should do that. Maybe that would take so long to rearrange those shelves, though. Hey, speaking of collections, speaking of people's sort of toys, like it's always fun to do, but it just takes so long to do it. Facebook user says there won't be. I don't know what that is in reference to, but But anyway, in terms of collections, in terms of sort of things that we typically do when we do the live videos, I'm gonna do some show and tell. I got a couple things this week. One of them you guys know about, and I'll sort of get to that in a sec. But I did the AliExpress order, and I got myself a hand pack with a couple feet in there, the human ones. Really excited for the vertical hinged hands. And along with that, I got myself Lucretia. Really great sculpt. I'm surprised how good how clean her head sculpt is. Really, really great sculpt. Really excited about that with Alithia coming. Um, Last but not least, I posted about I did a post about this because I couldn't wait till show and tell. This little beauty, such a great figure. Definitely a figure I never thought I would have in my collection. But thank you to Chris Dalglish. I was able to get it. Chris is new to Mythic Legions. I've known him for a couple years through GI Joe groups, and small world. He knows some of my family that lives in Ontario, so we've been sort of communicating, chatting for the last couple of years, and he got a couple Legions, and I messaged him and said, "Hey man, where'd you get these? You know, what did you get? What are you gonna get? Welcome to the group." He joined Knights of the North, all that kind of stuff. And um, and I said, if you're ever willing to trade that one figure, let me know. And we made a trade, so I was pretty psyched. Max says radness. So this is the live auction for the Sir Valgard. Well, yes, there's a minimum for him though, and it's $10,000. So you can start the bidding at 10,000. Now that he's in my collection, there's no chance I'm ever going to part with this figure. I don't know if you guys were sort of watching or sort of with us when we did our sort of picks for All Stars, and he was on my sort of wild card list as a figure that I hope that they never made again because he was the Kickstarter exclusive, and I had sort of just decided that I was never going to have one. So it was shocking to see one, first of all, and then doubly shocking that Chris was willing to trade, and so I was needless to say, I was pretty excited. But anyway, on that note, I would probably say that he is probably my most prized figure in my Mythic Legions collection at the moment, for obvious reasons. A, never thought I'd have him. B, pretty rare. And C, just an awesome figure. The gold and purple, I love. He looks really great actually next to Balam. Because Balam kind of has like an inverted thing where he's purple with some gold. So Facebook user, I can only assume is Jay, said, "I ordered more of the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom figures today. I'm getting close to completing the first series. I'm only getting the thick boys." Jay, if that's you, that's awesome, man. I've been looking a lot at those Animal Warriors figures. I've actually been, well, we'll get there, but so on the topic of collections, guys, who is your most prized figure in your collection? Do you have a favorite? Is your favorite based on value? Is your favorite based on just the character or the design or what? Let me know in the comments. I'll I'll try to pull the figures that you mentioned up, and we can sort of discuss them. And people can criticize other people's picks if they want. 10,000. You are being unreasonable. Well, I got him. If you want him, I would be willing to let him go for that price. But that, like I said, that's the minimum. That's the reserve price. Facebook user who I suspect is probably not Jay. I'm guessing this particular Facebook user is Broseph. Or maybe it's Jay. Maybe Broseph and Jay have the same favorite figure. Rhaegar is a pretty unique figure. He kind of goes back further than I mean, obviously I do in Mythic Legions. My understanding is that he's sort of a tribute figure of sorts. He was sort of made as a tribute to a tribute to a fan. And let's just take a look here at Rhaegar. And it is in fact Jay. Facebook user Jay is got Rhaegar as his top figure. It's a great figure. I think it's kind of loosely based off of Warduke. Is that right? I'm not, and I'm going to get this wrong. Is Warduke Dungeons and Dragons? Forgive me for not knowing. I was never a Dungeons and Dragons guy. This figure, the color palette, fantastic. The red and the blue. That blue really pops. Like, it looks really, really good. I've, for obvious reasons, never seen one of these figures in person, but that blue looks very, very, very nice. And I always sort of talk about how I don't love black with red, but as soon as you add the blue and the gold, there's way more depth there. So definitely a cool figure there. And yes, Warduke. Okay, so I don't know anything about that character. I don't know who Warduke is, but but I'm glad that I was right. Kelly, what's up, buddy? It's Saturday night with the boys. Indeed, my friend, indeed. And Kelly, just to bring you up to speed, I did show and tell. We are just now chatting about favorite figures. So if you've got a favorite figure, put it in the comments there. And we'll sort of pull it up and chat about them a little bit. Charlie said Gonks and Nubnik, my first two, and big Goblin fan. Well, let's bring up. Let's bring up Gonks. So we got Gonks. Gonks is, of course, the thick boy of the goblins, if you will. Dwarf body. Really, really cool design. I love that armor, the sort of weathered, rusty, old looking armor. Those big, chunky pauldrons, that, the giant hammer. Really, really great pick. I really love him too. I don't have him in my collection, but I would very much like to. Nubnik is another one that I would love to have in my collection. I love goblins too. Really, really cool little goblin, nasty looking little guy. Comes with the extra head, which is fantastic. Anytime they come with an extra head, you can get a couple and then swap them, or build your little goblin army. He's got sort of the rusted look too. I think I've heard that in the pictures it's a little bit more pronounced than on the actual figure, but regardless, still fantastic figure for sure. Who else have we got? Austin has said it before, and he's sticking to it. Keltis and Adamon. Where is it? So we've got Keltis, who is of course the Skeletor tribute figure. That head is fantastic. Like that scapular repaint. I'm not a skeleton guy, but this may be my favorite skeleton. Although I do like, I've seen people sort of do a custom where they used like the Lord Dragul arms and legs instead of the skeletons, and to me that looks more accurate to Skeletor. But that might be nitpicky. Keltis is a great figure. And then Adamon, of course, who is of course the tribute to, well, He-Man, I guess, but Prince Adam, I guess, or He-Man. I mean, Prince Adam, you know, isn't typically big and thick, but I guess, you know, you can make an exception when you're making a tribute figure. Miko says Morgulith and Ice Troll. Yeah. I really like Morgulith. My 6-year-old daughter does as well. And so she's sort of on my priority list for a figure to sort of get if it ever comes up, or if I ever see one sort of for the right price. I think with the Necronominus wave coming, I you know, I think the demand for these is going to go up. So my chance of getting one might be diminishing daily, unfortunately. But such is life, I guess. And then the Ice Troll, a close second. The Ice Troll is really cool. And I'll use Trevor's photo to really, yeah, I mean, that's, the blue looks fantastic, and that sort of ice sword is really, really cool. Really great figure. All the trolls. I have the Forest Troll, and I absolutely love the Forest Troll. If I ever need, you know, Allegiance fix and I'm sort of all caught up, I would definitely go for another one, because they are super fun. And despite sort of the fact that they don't pose super well, I mean, I still think they're fairly posable and fun to play with. So Krona, hands down favorite Mythic Legions figure of all time. Krona is a pretty cool figure. Krona was actually in the trade deal that that went in Chris's direction. So I had a Krona that I sent to Chris, and he absolutely loves it as well. So Krona's a cool one. The accessories that he comes with are really cool too. I really like the paint scheme on him as well. There's a weird like, I find that the Masters of the Universe tribute figures tend to have a very different color palette in a weird way. Like, they're easily identifiable as you know, tribute figures, which I think is good in a way, and less good because they don't fit on the shelf quite as well. For better or worse. I mean, I guess once you have sort of everything, like if you've got Rhaegor, I guess that's not a Masters of the Universe tribute, and sort of, and there are some, just looking at sort of what's right there in front of us. You know, the Ice Troll is blue, Jorund is blue, Kalazir will be blue. You know, if you got a couple ogres as well, then I guess some of those colors don't stand out quite as much. My small collection, those tribute figures were really obviously like, not, they didn't quite fit. But anyway, Kelly says Prince Adam is He-Man. Yeah, sorry, I should have said spoiler alert. from 1986. I don't know when did He-Man first come out. Dorina is an amazing figure. Dorina is a fantastic figure. Yes, she may be an elf. She may not be an elf. It depends which head you're using. It depends how you're trying to market her. Austin said Halmir Golden Tooth is great too. Yeah, Halmir is really, really cool. When we were doing our top picks for All Stars, Halmir was in Ray's picks for his top 5 most wanted. Definitely a really cool figure. I love this deco, the black with the gold, and then sort of that mismatched pauldron. In is the pauldron to me looks like it's a little bit sort of brassy or bronze. I don't have one, so I don't know. But yeah, great figure. The winged helmets. You know, now that I have one, they really are fantastic looking. Those wings are really, really nicely sculpted. And that Warhammer, I love that Warhammer. That's a really, really great weapon, and it sort of balances nicely too, surprisingly nicely, or at least I think so. Charlie, I really want to shout out Hadriana. Yes. Oh, sorry. Austin says the pauldron is definitely bronze. That's and that's cool. I like that it's a little bit sort of mismatched and sort of disconnected, but not I mean in a good way. Back to Charlie's comment, I really want to shout out Hadriana. Absolutely, very, very nice figure. Definitely a better figure in hand than in the photos, and I think there's a lot of figures like that. You know, when you see a lot of those figures in hand, for me at least, you know, seeing like sorry, I'm going to show this off just because I can. Seeing details, like in terms of sort of where they've added, you know, in the chainmail underneath being sort of different colors and multiple tones. When you see sort of the tones in hair, and just the decos, man, like in person, so many of the decos are so much better than the pictures really do it justice. But Facebook user says he made my list too. I assume you mean Halmir Golden Tooth because that was the last he that we talked about. But, Kelly says the Warhammers are great if I could have one included with every character. Maybe that's a good question. What's everybody's favorite accessory? We won't. I mean, we can. There's the armory. We could sort of look at all the accessories. Some of the weapons are phenomenal. Like some of them are okay. Like the long sword is great, but you know, you've seen one, you've seen them all. The Buster Sword, I find the Buster Sword to be a little bit much, personally. Like it's a really cool looking sword, but it's a little much for me. Austin said the club mace that comes with Numnick is my favorite. Not sure why, but I love it. Well, let's bring. What's that one called? That's the spiked one, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I would agree. That's a pretty great little one. Again, it's because it's I think it's because it's so simple, but it's not so common. Is what I sort of think maybe that and you just don't see it that much. So in the Night Builders, Nubnik, Scaphoid. But that you see a lot of this one. You see a lot of the sort of longer one. You don't see as much of the sort of the ball shaped one. But Kelly said Warhammers just get the job done. Yes, absolutely. Facebook user says I like the scimitars and the club that comes with Brother Mandibulus. Yes, those are very good. The scimitars, are pretty cool. Um, where is it? The scimitar. The scimitar is nice. Again, you don't see it very often. I got a couple with Sir Gerard. Um, Again, the long sword is once you've seen it, you've seen them all. The scimitar adds a little bit more detail. It's still, a simple weapon as such, but looks really good. I really like the twin elven blades. I find these really really fun. Um, Both in terms of sort of what you can do with them, how you can sort of pose them out, the fact that they connect and you can kind of make them into a bladed staff. Um, that's probably that might be my favorite, is the twin elven blades. Um, I think the orc sword. I think this orc sword is maybe my least favorite because I can't stand that handle. It doesn't stay in anybody's hands. But Charlie said club mace for me too. The large axe. Yeah, the large axe is really 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 fun. Um, Plus you can kind of customize it and sort of tweak it the way you like. Mace is our second favorite, says Kelly. The over-the-top weapons aren't my favorite. I would definitely like it if the axes were smaller. Um, yeah, I don't disagree. As much as I like the really big axe, I wish there was sort of an option. I think the dwarf axe. I really like the dwarf axe. I was mentioning that the weapons that come with Corona, and this is the axe that I was sort of talking about. I really like this one. There's also what's it called? The bearded axe. I like the bearded axe, but again, there's a balance between sort of too small and too big, and I think there's an axe missing. I think there's like one axe that needs to be in between the battle axe and sort of those axes. Um, the knight, I find the knight axe a bit odd because I wish the handle was longer. Like I wish it was like if the knight axe had sort of the length that the battle axe did. I think that would be fantastic. Um, I love elves. I love the elf weapons. The elf axe to me is really really cool. And again, it looks really really great posed with a figure, and it's fun. It's fun to get in a figure's hands. What else we got? What else we got? Uh, Facebook user says, how much was the hand foot pack from Chinatown? I got in before the prices seemed to go up. But yes, yeah, Austin, I think they were around 30 shipped from AliExpress. Yeah, and the crazy thing from AliExpress, my box arrived damaged as everybody else's does, but um, and it took 3 weeks, I think, from when I ordered it for it to arrive. Um, but you could buy like one item and shipping's free, so I can't really be that upset if I can get, some of the stuff that's virtually impossible to find. I was doing the math on it, and like even at the prices that they're charging, which seem high, you get free shipping. And there's no, there's not. I've seen a lot of figures on like the Cabal going for like $100 US that I can buy for like 120 on AliExpress. But if I pay $100 US and then it's exchange rate and shipping, and then if you get hit with duties and on and on and on, it's probably easier to go that route because then you also have sort of the sort of safety net of dealing with a big corporation, and you can use a card, and if there's an issue you can get a refund and all that kind of stuff. But it's worth checking out is what I would say. But that being said, I mean, well anyway, Kel said the elf axe is cool. Yeah, it's pretty unique too, is what I like. The unique ones I like. As I've said, I'm working on a big I'm gonna do a Silverhorn, a Castle Silverhorn dio, and in the dio I'm gonna have a little armory for Thistlethorn. So I love the sort of unique kind of relic looking, or the weapons that look like they could have a story behind them, because he's going to get sort of a bunch of that stuff in his relic room. Facebook user, there is the axe that comes with King Bromden. Which one comes with King Bromden? I don't know. Let's find King Bromden and join me as I just jump back and forth. And he comes with an yeah. So that's the yeah, that was the one that we were talking about. I still think there could be one a little bit bigger than that, though. I still think that there could be an axe slightly bigger than that one, but that's just my personal opinion. And yes, 3 weeks isn't terrible. I mean, you're kind of a week and a half, up to 2 if you're sort of getting it within North America. So 3 weeks really isn't that bad at all. Tracking is a nightmare because it doesn't make any sense, and then it just sort of shows up at your house, which is fine. But yeah. But I mean, really, the sort of lesson that I'm sort of learning is that you don't. I'm obviously playing catch up, but the lesson that I'm learning, sort of vicariously through a lot of people, is don't sleep on figures. If there's a figure that you are at all interested in, get it in with your order, get it in your pre-order, so you don't miss it, and you can always change your mind after. So that's what I've sort of gotten in the habit of doing. And I've got a lot of stuff on pre-order now, more than I care to admit. But also a good chance to shout out Mike at eCollectibles. Great guy, very easy to deal with, as you all know already. But on a somewhat related note, as it was mentioned, and so I'll bring it up on here only because it was kind of big news for me. I had sort of passed on the Kickstarter because I didn't necessarily all hail King Mike. Absolutely. Hail. I had passed on this Kickstarter. I enjoy the figures, but I wasn't sure, how deep I wanted to go. I wasn't sure if it was a line that I would sort of appreciate sort of down the line. And like I said, I had backed a Kickstarter that I was just kind of getting frustrated with, and so Kickstarter was just kind of it left it was sort of a bitter taste in my mouth. Kickstarter had left a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. So to my surprise, when I got a message from Mike and he said, "Hey, what do you think of Animal Warriors of the Kingdom?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I'm carrying them." So if you guys didn't know, Mike is going to be bringing in the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, and the pricing is phenomenal because it's in line with buying it through the Kickstarter. But you don't have to pay, the shipping. You don't have to pay the tax. You don't have to pay the duties, and on and on and on. It'll get to you quicker and all that kind of stuff. What do you guys think of this line? Or maybe you guys, I mean, Jay, you're already sort of, you're into this. What have you ordered, Jay? What have you ordered? What haven't you ordered? What might you order? I actually I reached out to, or I started chat through Mike. I started chatting to Jason from Spiro Toys, who's doing this line, and I got the first issue of the comic book. The lore behind this, you guys, is fantastic. I love the design, and as soon as I read the comic book, I was just like, I need to get these figures. Um, Austin, those figures look damn cool. Alas, I can't afford to collect another line. Yeah, that's kind of, I haven't haven't wrapped my head around that aspect of it yet, but I'll do that later. I'll do that after the fact, I think. Facebook user says I haven't ordered any of the 6-inch yet. Oh, so you got in for the 4-inch ones, which again are really really cool figures. But I think these ones are gonna just knock those ones out of the park. They look cool and can't wait for Austin Wilson to get some and take amazing photos. Facebook user says haven't ordered them yet. Okay, okay. Miko says not all that interested versus Savage Crucible. Fair enough, and that's again, Eddie always says it's a golden age of toys right now. There's the problem is there's just too much. There's too much good stuff. Savage Crucible looks like a fantastic line. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, and I don't get a slap on the wrist for Mike, but Mike is sort of talking to the Savage Crucible guys, and so it's looking very likely at this point that Mike will get those too. Austin says, "Shut up, Kelly." Um, uh, Facebook user says, "Yeah, just the 4-inch thick boys so far." Charlie says Savage Crucible. Oof. Yeah, I mean, the Lovecraftian races love and the posability. Oof. Oof oofa. Yeah. They look fantastic as well. And there's a few that I hope that they do. Some of the animals that they're doing look fantastic as well. Definitely a line that I'm very much anticipating, sort of seeing what they, when the release comes and sort of how that project really really takes off. I'm very much interested in that as well. Yeah, Facebook user Jay got his dwarf coin this week. Very very cool. um I'm not jealous of people that got the coins. Johnny Tam got a coin too. Greg got a coin. There's a few guys in the group that got a coin for sure. Facebook user says, I feel like I'm in the club now. You are in the cool kids club for sure. I don't know how many there was quite a few of those coins, but in the grand scheme of things, there's not that many of them out there. Um, uh, William Robert Post did mention that there's gonna be some of that stuff available with the Kickstarter. He's not sure how many people want to buy it, but he's going to do that dial, that sort of decoder coin, as well as some of the dwarf coins. But they won't be exactly the same as the ones that got mailed out. So it'll be a different color or a slightly different pattern or something along those lines. But really looking forward to those as well. Um, Charlie, were you with us last time we did a video? I think we did. We went over a lot of that Savage Crucible stuff last time, and I agreed completely. It looks fantastic. Um, but this week my kick is Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, so that's what we're gonna look at. Um, the main character being pale, um, great sculpt, great design. Um, they're a little more sort of um, cartoony, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. They're 100% inspired by the designs in the comic book, and honestly, the art in the comic book is so good. Um, Charlie, I was not. Oh, you got to go back and watch that one, man. That'll get you your Savage Crucible fix for sure. Um, and you can watch it on YouTube too, and you can watch it and like it, and you can comment on there too. I think I don't know what that does. That's I guess it's good for the algorithms. You could subscribe too and do all that fun stuff. Um, I do a video in the GI Joe group, and there's actually a couple guys that watch it on YouTube because they can watch it on their TV. So that's kind of cool. Facebook user says I had bought some heads from MAFC and I thanked them for the coin. They said you're welcome and they love my Instagram page. Yes, absolutely. The MAFC, the My Action Figure Customs, great custom pieces, heads, weapons. They do everything. They do everything, and it's nice stuff too. It's nice stuff. I just haven't bought that much custom stuff yet, so I probably would have if this is sort of 6 months from now I've gotten a coin. But Charlie, they have a Thundercats feel. Yeah, they really do. There's kind of like there's definitely, I do get that vibe a little bit, especially with some of the other. So Pale is from the Chunar tribe, I think is what they're called. Um, but then you've got a whole bunch. Speaking of Thundercats, right? Uh, you get these guys. So House Feralist is like the cat tribe. So you've got Tiberius, who's very clearly a tiger, and there's kind of like a puma guy, and there's a white tiger. Um, there's a lynx, there's a bobcat, there's a lion, and the leader of that tribe. They haven't done a figure for him yet, but he's in the comic book. King Hannibal is like an oversized lion, so he's like a real big, bulky. I think King Hannibal will be one of your thick boys. He'll be right up your alley. But then they do like the army builders too, which are sort of just blank, figures, minimal stuff. You could buy weapons packs. I'm still trying to figure out. I think most of the armor. So like, if you grab a guy like Atreyu, he's disappeared. If you grab a guy like Atreyu, I think all that armor comes off. Like, I think all the base bodies are the same, and then the armor is essentially swappable. So really, really cool figures, and a line that um, I'm worried I'm gonna get pretty deep into. Jay, selfish plug. No, it's all good, buddy. It's cool, man. Like, I think anybody that didn't get a coin is will either tell you that they are jealous, or they won't tell you anything, and they will just be jealous internally, and they'll just bottle that emotion up. I need that big gorilla. Yes, General Thane, who is the general of the Chunar military. He is also. I won't spoil too much, but I will say that Thane is the father of Pale. Pale actually refers to him in the comic book as Dad. Um, like I said, the story is great. The art is great. The figures look great. There's a whole bunch of figures. Or I should say, there's a whole bunch of characters in the comic that I hope they make figures of as well. Um, Kelly said, "You had me at just the name. King Hannibal sounds badass, and he looks badass. That's the thing. He looks badass." Um, it is with the 4-inch guys. Well, I don't know. Per way, Jay, you're losing me with your comments. I can't decipher them. But yeah, Kelly, King Hannibal. I don't think they're going to do him as big as Thane, so he'll be sort of somewhere in between. He'll be sort of thicker than the normal figures, but not as thick as Thane, based on what he looks like in the comic books. And he's a lion, and he's got. I don't know if you guys have seen. Planetary Dog Toys has that sort of lion with sort of his hair's almost not quite dreadlocks, but they're sort of locks with sort of stuff in it, like metal decorative stuff, and that's kind of what King Hannibal looks like. Um, he looks really good, and that's a character that I really really hope they make. And that being said, I feel like it's only a matter of time. And what Mike has is effectively waves 1 and 2. Um, and then there's at least 2 more waves scheduled. One of the really great things about this line is that they basically said that their schedule is like a new wave, kind of every 6 months, and 6 figures or whatever it is, and they'll try to keep that schedule for sort of as long as they can, as long as sort of there's the demand for it. Um, which I love. I love if it's sort of any of you guys have seen any time that I talk about GI Joe stuff, all I want is for like regular scheduled releases. I want a quarterly release. Give me the figures. I'll be ready for the next one. I just love the idea of having it scheduled because then it's way less of a hassle. We've seen it with the mythic stuff, right? Where people are kind of like panicking, like that they're not going to have the money to do a pre-order because the pre-orders are coming too fast, and they're so random and people just don't know what to do. Um, Facebook user says 12 figures a year is perfect. Yes, I agree. And if I know how many it is per year, it's sort of like, yeah, that's you could break it down and you kind of go one a month. And so if you're looking at sort of budget wise, 1 figure per month, I think that's very feasible. And then, you throw in maybe there's I don't know what they're going to do with this line, but I mean, you throw in an exclusive or you throw in a head pack or a weapons pack or an armor pack or something like that. It's not going to like break the bank. It's not too terrible. Um, so what Mike has is wave 1 and 2. There might be a couple more items added. Because I'm campaigning to get some other stuff, and I don't mean to sort of speak out of turn, and I can't guarantee anything, but I think Mike is going to be able to get the comic books, and I think Mike is even going to have access to the Kickstarter exclusive figure, which is my daughter's favorite figure, and that is this one here. Vero Atlas, who is sort of like a white tiger, which is really great deco. They come with great accessories too. I won't spoil anything, so I won't sort of explain what any of the accessories are, but man, the comic book was not what I expected. The story it really is good, and in the first issue, they set up sort of so much. They sort of give you all these little nuggets of like all this great stuff to come. um and I think they've got sort of five comics lined up. One is already done, obviously. The second one, I believe, is nearly done, and should be available sooner rather than later. But definitely check this stuff out if you haven't already. Who's the monkey dude with the blue hair and purple armor? Well, the monkey dude with the blue hair and purple armor is Blight of House Horde. Do you want the sort of full spoiler? Like, I don't know how deep you guys want me to go. I've gone pretty deep in the lore of this stuff. Because it's great, man. It's great. And the deeper that I got into this lore, the more I wanted the figures. I'm not gonna lie. The story's great. But again, getting back to Mike's gonna have waves, or wave 1 and 2 are essentially what's up there already. Wave 2.5 is sort of like an additional wave that they said is going to go up for order about a month after all the orders have been shipped. So once Mike gets his figures, we should see pre-orders for the next wave. Wave 2.5, I think, has like 5 or 6 figures, but it also has you guys, this is what's crazy about this line. They're going all in. So there's the comic book. Um, I heard a rumor that they would like to do a cartoon, and this would look fantastic as a cartoon. But they've come up with like a board game, like an RPG. It's not, I guess, it's not a board game. It's an RPG. They've got sort of a play like a mat. It looks like a mat, but it's sort of in development stage, so it might look slightly different once it comes out. A mat with some additional sort of stuff, barrels and pillars and like stuff like that. I'll find some pics and post it because it looks phenomenal. And you actually use the figures as the as the tokens, like as the play pieces in the game. So like you move your actual 6-inch scaled action figures around the game board. um and I'm not gonna lie, this is like a photographer's dream to me, because like you could play out this game in photographs and like post your game, or like share your game. You could have people play each other and sort of take pictures as they make their moves, and you could do it long distance because you could do it with photographs, stuff like that. um Kelly, where can I check out the lore? I'm a sucker for lore. um well, I got the comic book through Jason of Sparrow Toys. I haven't asked him how to pronounce that. I should ask him, and I will. um but some of it I just had to piece together. Some of it has been sort of talked about in different videos where Jason's been interviewed, or people have talked about the brand. Um, I mean, we could do sort of 5 minutes of full spoilers on the lore if you want, because we're at about 55 minutes. People could log off now if they don't want to hear this, and we could sort of do a very quick deep dive into the lore if that's what you guys want to do. There's only a few of us still hanging out here, so I'm happy to do it. I don't think it's going to offend too many people. Um, if somebody's watching this after the fact and they've made it this far, good for them. They'll probably stick around. Eddie is part of the line as well, the dwarf guy. What? I don't know what that is. Kelly said 10 out of 10, ready for lore. All right, well, Jay, I think you probably already know some because you've already been doing the 4-inch stuff. Kelly wants to hear more. Okay, so I'll just cover kind of the basic story, and I won't even go over too many spoilers. I'll just sort of do the world building, and then if it at all interests you, I can assure you that it's so cool, man. The first comic book was so good, and if I'm being honest, I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. I read quite a lot of comic books, and I was very pleasantly surprised that this wasn't another one of those like toy comic books where you're like, okay, so you're just throwing this stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Um, so okay, so there's different tribes. Um, the Chunar are sort of the ape tribe. There are other, you know what? I have notes somewhere. I had to take notes. Bear with me. I'll go grab my notebook. That's how good the lore of this was. I really wanted to sort of like figure out exactly what was going on, and it took me a minute to figure it all out too. Um, Eddie is the Mythics guy that has a ton of dwarves. I think he is part of Spiro Toys as well. Oh yes, yes, yeah. Yep. Eddie Salvatore, yes. I think he is. I think there's a few guys that are sort of involved. Jason was sort of the lead guy, the design, or sort of the guy that sort of came up with the concept, but there's definitely other people involved as well. Sorry. Okay, so I'll sort of go over this as quickly as I can, and I'll sort of use the figures to sort of explain, because if you sort of see them visually, it helps a little bit. So the Chunar tribe is like the ape tribe, or sort of like the good ape tribe. General Thane, like I said, is the general of the army. He is the father of Pale. So he is he's Pale's father. We'll just leave it at that. Pale's mother will be coming in the third wave. Her name is Mika. And then there's then you've got like the Chinori legionary, sorry. You've got there's also like the basic legion builder for that as well, the Chinari infantry. So they're all like these sort of these animal tribes, different animal tribes. You've got House Chunar, then you've got House Feralist, which is all the cats. And for them, I showed you Tiberius, I showed you that white tiger. You've also got Lexian, you've got Cordoon. There's more of them coming as well. There's a troop builder for them. Atreyu is a fantastic looking figure. I love this deco, this color. But there's other houses as well that haven't been shown, or that do come up in the comic book. So you've got the Pachydyne, which are elephants. You've got Bovidicius, which is like oxen and sort of like bulls and stuff like that. Then there's Fangborn, which there's like rabbits and foxes and like a whole bunch of other kinds of animals. And essentially like all of those tribes are sort of just in different areas. Different areas, they all have their own territory. But then the sort of big bad guys are House Horrid, and House Horrid is led by I think they call him Emperor Kali. So he's like this big, tough, nasty, sort of gorilla type dude. And then you've got Blight. Now Blight is actually a clone. So I didn't talk too much about the accessories because I didn't want to sort of spoil anything. But what I will say is there's a weird balance of like primitive stuff. I mean, they're all beasts. They're all animals. They're all sort of. There's even sort of like a fair. Well, I mean, House Feralist, but there's sort of feral characters as well. But there is some sort of high tech stuff. So there's cloning. Some of the weapons that they show are actually like laser, like the let me find one to show you. Like this shotgun is like a laser shotgun. Now I don't know how a shotgun could be a laser shotgun, but it is. And then the pistols are like laser pistols, so it's pretty cool stuff, man. And like I said, the world building just in one issue is fantastic. Miko, I like the spear from Chinari. Yeah, where is this one? I think this is the one that the one that you mean, this one here. That spear, like the spear comes with a few different figures. The spear comes in the weapons packs as well. There's a couple weapons packs that come with the spear. One of the dudes has a mechanical arm. Yes, now that's not in this wave yet, but there is characters that once you get a little bit deeper, you do get a little bit more, sci-fi. There is like a tech element. but it's cool, man. It's good stuff. And the first issue kind of gets a little bit, it just sort of like gets the ball rolling on like where did they get this tech? Why do they have this tech? You know, why are they primitive if they have this tech? You know, how are we, you know, why is there a clone? You get into all that in issue one, and then you just want more. Miko says, not enough spear and mythic legions. Lots of lance, though. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But anyway, I hope I've kind of whet your appetite there a little bit for these figures. I think they look fantastic, and I I'm not quite going all in, but I will be getting a lot of these. So I'll keep you guys posted as much as I can. So Kelly, I'm so sold on this. May just stick with the comic if it becomes available. Well, I'm really hoping that Mike can get it. Jason essentially said that it will be available, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I was chatting with Mike and Jason today, and really excited for this. Really excited for what they're going to do with the line. We're probably going to have Jason on for a chat, and I said, you know, whenever you want, and he said as soon as he gets production samples in hand, he wants to come on. So, you know, if you're not stoked now, wait until the production samples land, and then I think it'll be game over for anybody that's sort of on the fence with these ones. They look so good. They look so good. The articulation is really good too. They definitely pose really well. So on that note, we are at 1 hour and 5 minutes. I think that's about all I've got. If you guys have any questions, comments, anything you want to sort of fire away, go for it. If not, we'll wrap up here. Yeah. Kelly, have a fantastic night. You have a fantastic night yourself, Kelly. You know, hopefully you have a nice rest of your weekend. And on that note, we will. I'll just segue into saying thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit up eCollectibles to get pre-orders in. There's still a little bit of time to get your pre-orders in for Alithia if you didn't yet. But if you already have and you were hoping for a pre-order, well, now you've got Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. You can get that pre-order in. But as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for joining me. We will do this again very soon. Probably again next Saturday if all goes as planned. And then I'll be on a bit of a hiatus. Hopefully somebody else might be able to jump in and do a couple. But I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that next week. But anyway, have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, and we will chat again soon.